Hello, bot fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Square, Blue Square, your go-to for BattleBots recap and reaction. I'm your host, Richard Tiemann, and this is episode number 5, I believe. We're a bit behind because of my mini vacation, but we are all caught up, and this week's episode was a great one, and so I welcome 2 great guests. We finally have women guests on the show, better late than never. So who better than in the Red Square? They have one of the most fabulously painted bots to ever enter the battle box. She is Jen Herchenroeder of HiJinx. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
And in the blue square, as you heard the bunny-like squeal, it's everybody's favorite bunny, the vicious yet cuddly and cute Adrian Bunny Sauriol of Malice. Welcome, Bunny. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
All right, guys. So before we get too far into this episode, let's go ahead and have our head referee, John Remar, hit him with a warning. John?
Warning, this episode is full of spoilers, so you've been warned.
All right, you heard him. Full of spoilers. And of course, if you're a true devout BattleBots fan, then there is no spoilers in this episode because you were there watching as it premiered. You might even have Discovery Plus and watched it early, you sneaky devil. But then again, some of us may be victim of that as well, watching it before it airs. But it's okay because we all enjoy the same great episode, which this one was fantastic. So let's go ahead and throw up the fight card. And we had the first fight of the night. Rotator defeats Black Dragon in a unanimous decision. Surprise, surprise. This one went the distance, but man, great fight to start off the fight card. And Victor and his Rotator bot advanced to 2-0. Black Dragon, though, still forced to be reckoned with. We'll see how they do in their third fight. Then number 2, we had Lucky, the Canadian bot that proved to be very Canadian last time and helping their opponent from being hung up and then would end up losing in that matchup. But they get a win in very un-Canadian-like form against Blade. I think they heard my comment on the last episode and said, no, we're going for the throat this time because there was some aggressive driving by Lucky. So congrats to Lucky getting in the win column with their new driver and being 1-1. Then number 3, a very emotional fight. If you watch the package, I'm not crying. Yes, I actually was crying. And it was Minotaur, Daniel Freitas defeating Dragon Slayer, the newcomer to the battle box. And that was by knockout. Then number 4, Yeti gets in the win column with a knockout over Pain Train. So good to see Greg get back in the win column and return to his former Yeti glory of just attack, attack, attack. And number 5, we have a unanimous decision that I'm sure you're all wanting to hear all about when Kraken was defeated by HiJinx. Congratulations, Jen, on getting into the win column. Then number 6, Defender, the other half of the Vasquez family, gets his first win of the season against a previously undefeated new face to the world of BattleBots in Riptide. So that was a unanimous decision. Good for Jason. It's nice to have 2 great fighters out of the same family and not one overshadowed by the other. So that should make for a great fight down the road if we hopefully get Whiplash versus Defender. And then finally, your main event. What a fun back and forth this was. It did not go the 3 minutes, but Hypershock advances to 2-0 in a knockout win over Don Hudson's Lockjaw. And man, that was a childhood dream come true for Will Bales and company, but just a really great fight all around. 2 very evenly matched bots. So let's go ahead and start things off with Jen. You mentioned to me before we got on here that you were finally a part of a controversial decision. I'm sure we've all been there, but you and Kraken, you went the distance, but it wasn't split. It was unanimous, and it looked like it was all because of the damage that you inflicted on him. How did you feel once the decision was read?
Being ringside and seeing it and feeling the vibrations from the hits and like being in the moment, it felt like the right call. There were definitely moments in that fight where the tide could have turned against us. I'm doing a post-fight Redux video on all the things that could have gone wrong. And like there are definitely moments where Kraken could have turned the tide of the battle. And Kraken is an excellent robot. But looking at the chunks of robot that came off of Kraken and the early damage to the back of the jaw that prevented it from closing, I think we took it pretty. I feel good about it. I know Matt Spurk has actually come out in my defense and said, yes, HiJinx did in fact win. I also understand why the fans are upset. I mean, if Kraken is fighting anybody but HiJinx, I am cheering for Kraken. So I get it. But no, that's a win. It's a solid win.
Yeah, it was a great win for you guys. I enjoyed the match. Any match that goes 3 minutes and it doesn't turn into a pushing contest, I always feel great about. So it wasn't a straight to DVD, or I'm sorry, straight to YouTube fight. So you got to feel good about that, as we joked around with that last week. But Bunny, so Kraken is 0-2, and they had a strong season last year. You guys are kind of in a similar boat. And I don't know how much weight gets put into strength of opponent when you're going from one season to the next, because clearly there are legends in this competitive sport like Lockjaw and Tombstone and bots like that, even Ice Wave. But you know, in your mind, should you get credit for how well you did last year despite your record this year, or is it clean slate out the gate each new season?
Well, I think it's a clean slate each season. I don't think that I also don't, a win is a win and a loss is a loss. I'm not a huge strength of schedule person. I know a lot of people are like, oh, strength of schedule. Anything can happen with anyone. I don't think that any robot is better than any other robot. I genuinely don't believe that. I think that everyone is just here doing what they love, and it doesn't matter who you're fighting. You should treat them the same. Like even if I just don't think of any robot as better than another. Everyone's putting their heart and soul out, and everyone's doing everything they can. So,
yeah, it reminds me of something that was shared in the BattleBots group that it has come full circle this season already, where Captain Shredderator defeated Tombstone, who defeated Gigabyte, who defeated Captain Shredderator. So any given fight, they say any given Sunday in football, I don't know what it is in BattleBots, but any given fight night, you can have a surprise victory. I don't know if you would call it an upset, really, but I think the Defender and Riptide fight is really what we had been hoping for all season when it comes to a control bot versus a four-wheel vert. And Jen, I know that you guys choose to go astray from the beaten path, and you have your two-wheel, very wide, big hips HiJinx bot with the horizontal spinner. But how did you feel watching this fight and Jason Vasquez getting his first win of the season?
I thought that was a good fight, and Jason Vasquez is not really a rookie. Like he's come from a family that has put a lot of time and investment into making effective robots, and also they have a lot of time to practice with these robots in the off season. Like one of the benefits of building a crusher instead of a spinner is that you can take it to events where high KE weapons may not be appropriate. Like you could take this to Robot Ruckus, for example. So I think it's an uphill battle when you're playing the control game in the high energy field. So it is pretty satisfying to see a control bot go against the current meta, the vertical spinner, and take a win. I enjoyed the fight as well. I thought it was some pretty good back and forth action.
Yeah, it was a great, entertaining fight. The whole card was good. And I was concerned watching that Rotator Black Dragon fight. I was like, they've set a really high bar for the rest of the card. I was like, how is this not the main event? And then the main event happened. And obviously there's a lot of history there between Will and Don. But man, Rotator, Victor just drove the hell out of that fight. I mean, I was not expecting that. But Bunny, you're nodding like, no, I totally saw that coming. What did you think of that fight between those two?
I think that Rotator is such an amazing robot and such an amazing driver, and I think that you should always expect that kind of driving from Victor. I think Victor just knows what he's doing, and he's been here for so long, and he's been doing it for so long. Like, he's been doing it 20 years, and he knows what he's doing, and you should always expect that kind of driving from Rotator.
Yeah, started out the fight in a very unconventional way. I mean, at least if I have a bot like that with as powerful a weapon as he does, I'm not going to be backing into my opponent to start off like the first, what.
Absolutely should back into your opponent when you have such strong opponents.
Yeah, it was a very great strategy.
HiJinx has their wedge on the back too. That's what you would do. It's just the smart way to do it.
Well, see, that's why I don't compete. That's why I talk to you guys who educate me year after year. It's like, no, that's what you do. That's what you do. Like, let me slow you down right there.
He's such an amazing driver. He does it so well.
Yeah, this was a card of really great drivers. You look at Victor, Daniel, and then of course Will and Don. and then even Jason there, but and
And
Yeti.
Ryan, yeah.
Yeah, I was like Orion. Yes, absolutely. Orion is one of the best drivers. So, like there's just so many great drivers in this sport, and they all get to showcase their things in the fight card last night. Driving makes a huge difference. I think driving is one of the biggest factors of wins and losses. So
for me, the most entertaining and I think surprising fight, but at the same time, it's like I want this other bot to really do well and showcases just what it can do. Like I feel like they're this year's Fusion. Like we see the potential, but nothing has gone right for them, and that is Blade. But yet Lucky was so fun to watch because they're not your conventional flipper, but he was having none of it this fight, and I was cheering the whole time. I was like, do it again. So that was a lot of fun. And Bunny, I know that you're back in the pits with these folks, and you guys all cheer for each other. But when you see a bot in a team like Orby and Blade, and they're having some struggles, and obviously you guys are as well with Malice this season, like what kind of encouragement is there to give?
I don't see our fights as struggles. First off, like that's just not what we're not struggling this year, and I don't agree with people saying that. We are doing everything right. Like we solved all of our issues from last year's. And yes, new issues are going to pop up. This is robots. This is what it does. There's no struggling, and Blade is not struggling. He's doing amazing. He's doing so great. He's doing such an amazing job. And it's so hard for him. He's in a whole different country. Like he doesn't speak the language as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole different set of stressors. Like his robot is doing brilliantly. I mean, yes, he has issues, but finding those issues is part of the fun. Like it shouldn't be sad to lose. It should be so enthralling, and you learn so much more when you lose than when you win. And he is such an amazing engineer, and he's such an amazing guy. Like he knows exactly what he's going to do to fix these problems, and he knows exactly how to implement it, and he will do it better than everyone else. Like he's going to be fine, and he knows that. And
I think that for those guys, it's just a matter of getting the right matchup for that first win. But you look at like I mentioned with Fusion last year, they kept catching on fire. Captain Herchenroeder having some kind of radio issue, and so it seems like we watch these fights as fans. I know me, I can speak for myself. We watch these fights, and we think something went wrong, but then we find out no, nothing went wrong. It's just the fight went their way and not ours. Or we're just like, well, it looks like the cards just weren't in their favor, and they're like, well, no, we had issues. So it's always interesting to hear from you guys if there was actually a problem or not. I was talking with Matt Spurk actually last night, and I said, so tough decision. He's like, yeah, but it should have gone to Jen, because they damaged us. And I was like, but did they really? Because the way that Kraken is designed, it's very top heavy, but there's not a lot up there. Like everything is down in the base. So it's kind of like a hot air balloon. You have the basket, the flame, but the top is just the balloon, which obviously if it tears, you're in trouble. But to my point, it's like everything that makes it happen is down in that base. He's like, no, but they did this to us and this to us. So yeah, we took some real damage. And Jen, I know that when you guys go into those fights, you have a strategy, and with Kraken being as aggressive as they are, and obviously the type of bot that they are, did you guys getting flipped over almost like give you an advantage at that point, like one that you can't really give yourself coming out of the battle box?
I'll be honest, we've had some struggles, and we've worked very hard to overcome all the challenges and the new challenges that have come our way. One thing that has been, we've designed HiJinx to drive upside down, but just because we have this design feature in mind, and even though we've practiced driving upside down in a parking lot, that doesn't mean that driving upside down is a good condition for us. And one thing I noticed after the mammoth fight, I looked at the top armor, the head, and where the paint had been scraped off. And I can tell you, like, the contact patch on the head is substantially larger than the contact patch for the tail, which means you're automatically going to get more friction, which means your movement is going to be somewhat hampered. So after that fight, given that a lot of our opponents would like to see us on our head, I made some changes to the robot, including adding slippery UHMW to the head. That helped, but that particular piece of material got ripped off during the fight. So we've made like an even improved version of that you're going to see in future fights, which is a block of slippery UHMW that's bolted onto the tail, so that when we're driving upside down, we have less friction against the floor and a different size, shape, and material for the contact patch. Going into a fight, planning to drive upside down is something that we have talked about in the past, but we haven't actually done it yet, because fundamentally, when the bar is low to the ground, that's usually where we have the better chance to hit a body shot or hit wheels. And with Kraken, because they have the long mouth wedge down the bottom, there's a good chance that even if they come straight at us, the weapon will skip up on their wedge and go into their mouth. So for us, being right side up was the plan, and that plan just went out the window like immediately.
They do.
But what's really funny, and I hope that there are some photographs of this, because John Bennett, one of the photographers who comes and shoots the fights, him and Tony and Dan, he's always harassing us about putting something on the bottom of the robot. And I've been telling him, like, there's just no space on the bottom of HiJinx. Like, it's just a weapon. But because we make so many Top Gun jokes, me and Orion, I put holographic vinyl that I got from Hypershock on the tail. It just says I was inverted in helicopter mode. That's what you get. So I hope that exists somewhere out in the world, because we were there immediately. So, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face.
You guys got flipped over. I think that was great. I think that made for a more entertaining fight. But the commentary from Chris and Kenny was fantastic on it. And you guys really made a great fight out of that one, despite your original plan. Obviously, it worked in your favor either way. But yes, John, Tony, and Dan, they're all great guys. Love their photography, love their work from BattleBots. So this was Revenge of the Red Square. It was all red square wins except for one, and that blue square win came from the one and only HiJinx and Jen Herchenroeder. So red squares have taken the lead. It is now 22 for the red square and 19 for the blue square. So those of you that are analyzing the data, this is important stuff. We have a new leader, and that is the red square, but it's still very, very tightly matched now. So also, several teams got their first win of the season, in a season where you only get 3 fights to prove you're worthy of the 32. We had Lucky get in the win column, Minotaur, which may surprise some people, but given their first fight, probably not as big of a surprise. Yeti, HiJinx, and Defender all got their first win. So, it was a night for a lot of firsts, especially new team like Jason, although he's not new, like this is his baby, this is his bot. And then Lucky with a new driver, and Yeti, who took a year off and is now back. I don't know, it might depend on how many seasons you've competed, but I'd like to know from both of you guys, what is it like to get that first win, regardless of how many times you've competed in a season?
As a person, like, I'm not going to pretend that I'm not competitive. I mean, the truth is, like, I really like winning. I really enjoy motorsports. I'm a short person, and part of the reason why I drift toward motorsports instead of other kinds of sports is because, like, motors, for me, working with electronics, it's kind of a great equalizer. Like, I can tweak an engine and go faster. I can tweak a brushless motor and go faster. I can make improvements, and my size doesn't become a limitation there. We're always focused on keeping it fun, because for us, we have good sponsorship. Van Beber Brothers, Autodesk sponsors us, Montana Cans, Genzace, IMS, P3D Creations. They make it possible for us to compete because we have a working class robot. No one on this team comes from money or went to an elite school. We are very ground up, and we do love it, and we put our hearts into it. I think for us, the ethos is always like, it's better to have a good fight than an easy win, or a short fight, or an unsatisfying fight, because what we really want to do is test our best engineering and our best driving against the other best engineers and drivers in the field. And I think what the takeaway for us is, it's not like winning isn't everything, but it is fun. But there are other things that you can achieve along the way. Like, of course, we want to win the giant nut. On the way, I want to see HiJinx in a main event. On the way, like, I want to break through each of the barriers. I want to win a bounty hunter tournament. Like, those are all goals that you can achieve on the way to the big goal. But yeah, it's kind of like this. If you are into racing and you go out to the track and you lay down the fastest lap you've ever had, and it's your best time ever, your friend is a half second fast. Are you mad at him, or are you happy that you did your best lap ever? And I think you should choose to be happy that you did your best ever and then build on that. And I'm not sure it comes natural for a lot of people. I think some people, it really is all about the win, but I think the win is just part of what you can achieve here.
So we go to so many events. Like I really do believe that we probably go to the most events of any team, because we go at least once a month, sometimes twice. We're going to 2 next month. And I don't know, like for us, the wins, it's not why we're there. Like we're not there to win. We're not there to, I don't know, we're there to be with the people and see the people and have stickers printed out with the people. I don't know, like we're just not that, like we're not that kind of team. So for us, it's exciting, of course, like you know, but so is losing. Like we loved losing to Jackpot, and we loved winning. Like last year, you know what I'm saying, with Shatter, like that was super fun too. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, it just depends. It's more about being with our friends than it is for us.
And I like the sentiments from both of you, because you know, when I get to go to BattleBots when I can, it is a lot of like what Ray calls a family reunion. I love seeing you guys down there, seeing, you know, who's changed teams, what you guys are doing to mix it up, what's different about your bots. And I know that it's, you know, it's not about like the content that I get, which I'm there for, but I'm really just there to hang out with you guys and get a perspective that, you know, most people aren't privy to. But I also know that if I ever got around to building a bot, it would be kind of what you said, Jen, where it would be, I want to first build one, and then the end goal would be to win, but I want to build one, get accepted, and then just have a fight, you know, like that, like just put me in there and let's just see what happens. And if it gets torn to shreds, then okay, you know, like we can forget the win, but I got to do it, you know, like, and I think for a lot of you guys, that's echoed throughout the pits, especially because you look at Pain Train, who took on Yeti. They had, you know, not the best outing last season. This year, maybe it's matchups again. They had a few, it feels like, technical issues with their bot last year, but now, you know, with a season under their belt, you kind of have higher expectations, but really the matchups just haven't gone their way. And it seems like, you know, with as well known as their team is outside of BattleBots, that you want them to get a win, but they're not the kind of team to get discouraged by it. And I know they compete a lot in other circuits. Bunny, you're part of those. You know, what's your feel from Pain Train and how they've, you know, been in their BattleBots journey in such short time?
So my best friend was on Pain Train this year. So, and she said they were the same, you know, we were pit neighbors. They were literally like kitty corner from us. Like they were just having so much enthusiasm for the sport. They didn't, the wins didn't phase them at all. I'm sorry, the losses, I apologize, I misspoke. The losses didn't phase them at all. They were just excited that what they improved worked, and they found new things to improve on. I feel it's very similar to us. Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we had 8 in the 2-0 category last week. And then after tonight's episode, we have added 2 more to that, making 10. So if you're going strictly based on record, the tournament of 32 is starting to take some shape, and I'm curious to see how they seed the rest, given that it's only 3, but you're dealing with bots that have either won more than they've lost, or they've lost more than they've won. There is no ties anymore. I still feel like that 4th fight, though, was really important for a lot of teams. It's like something about the 3 to get it right, and then the 4th, it's just like boom, there it is. That's what you were supposed to see. So I don't know, 3 is a tough sample size, but in those 2-0, we have Jackpot, Ribot, Uppercut, Tantrum, Sawblaze, Shatter, P1, Endgame, Rotator, and now Hypershock. So I'll ask you ladies, we'll start with you, Jen. Of those, is there anyone that surprises you the most?
I wouldn't say surprised. Everyone on that list has built a good robot, and they've improved over time. I think one of the robots that brings me a lot of joy to see on that list is Hypershock. Like, not only because they're friends of HiJinx and they helped sponsor us for season 5, but Will Will's taken a lot of crap over the years for like having reliability issues or showing up and assembling the robot on site. And I think sometimes we lose sight of just how hard Will Bales and his team work to make Hypershock a good, solid, functional, effective robot, and how much time and effort that goes year round, and all the outreach that they do as well. And I think like we were pit neighbors as well this year, which was wonderful. Hence, like I got holographic, stickers from them, and we were able to do some shenanigans backstage. But it was really, it really warmed my heart to hear them say, "I think we really have it this time. I think we have it locked in. I think this is the design. This is the configuration. Like we have the Hypershock that we want." And that was really nice. Like it's good to see them succeed.
Bunny, I'll change up the question to you. Is there anyone that you feel should be 2-0 and is not?
I want everyone to win. I'm sorry. I'm so bad at these. Like, no, I'm just so bad at like trying to pick someone that, is better than everyone else. I want everyone to be happy and get everything that they want out of it. So I don't think so. I think it's hard for everyone to put that much soul and effort and time and love and money into something and have it not do well. So I think anyone that's not winning right now, I feel like they should be winning, and everyone that's winning, they should still be winning. So
I'll be honest, I really thought Minotaur would be a 2-0 bot.
Daniel, I mean, he uses the whole arena. See, this is the this is a problem with changing the arena 30 days before the event. People that are used to using the entire arena don't have time to practice another way to do things. And he has always used the whole arena. That's just Daniel. He loves zipping around the arena like it's like a field and there's daisies everywhere. So changing the arena 30 days before really hurts people like him. That just they need time to practice and adjust, and changing it up is just so rough. And I think it shouldn't be done, but I do applaud BattleBots for trying something new, but I just think that doing that, and no other sports would do that. No other sports would ever consider changing something 30 days before the event. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah, the shelf of shame or upper deck, very interesting concept. I made a tweet that said, I give it a few seasons before we have a floor that raises and lowers, and then things that come out from the side, like Legends of the Hidden Temple or Wipeout or Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, a box that shrinks while you're fighting in it. That's another concept, but they're always going to try to keep it fresh and interesting, when really the reality is that they don't have to. BattleBots in its purest form is entertainment enough, because the change, the something new, is you guys, the teams, the bots. That's the allure of it. That's the mystique. And so I agree. The upper deck, I'm not sold on. I'm not a huge fan of it. Yes, it's something new and different, but it's not the new and different that I think the truest of BattleBots fans really want. So, we'll see what happens with the next season. But from this fight card, biggest surprise, biggest upset, maybe? Jen, do you have one that other than maybe yourself, but let's say that you can't choose yourself as an answer for this?
I think with Lockjaw and Hypershock, I think a lot of folks were expecting Lockjaw to take it. They're very similar robots. Lockjaw has had more time in the field. Like, I think the clip at the beginning where they show Will talking to Donald Hudson, and he says, when you started competing, like, I was 4. Like, it was a great fight, and it was a fantastic showing from Hypershock. I think until the fight actually started, it would have been 50-50 and maybe leaning a little towards Lockjaw, just because they have such a strong history. But what a great fight that was.
Yeah, I think for me, Defender over Riptide. And it's not anything against Jason Vasquez whatsoever. It's just that you look at the outing that Riptide had against Huge and how impressive that was. And you think, okay, we have a control bot versus a 4-wheel vert. I've seen this before. And then sure enough, Jason does what a Vasquez does and drives the hell out of that arena. Jen, I'm curious about something you can answer, hopefully for me real quick here, since you're similar to Tombstone in the way that whenever Tombstone's blade breaks, it has like this bot seizure in the battle box, like something's not right, which is odd to me because it's not an uneven weapon that has different weight to it coming around like a Jackpot or a Scorpios or even a Sawblaze, but you guys have a full-on even blade that you're sitting over in the middle. Would that happen to you guys as well if the blade was to be disrupted in some way where part of it broke off?
Absolutely. If we were not using AR 500, which is very resistant to breakage, like the S series of steel that a lot of folks are using for the long bars, that does shatter, and it's why I've moved away from it. I actually have a piece of Ice Waves bar from 2018. Like I've got a chunk where this S2 had just shattered, and you can actually see the wave pattern through the steel as the crystals just split apart. It is stronger though. It is harder. It has a higher Rockwell hardness. But if our blade were to break in that way, we would have the same issue because it's about balance. Although you see the Sawblaze and on Scorpios and on Jackpot, those discs are asymmetric, but the weight is symmetric. The weight distribution is the same. If we were to lose even a few inches on one of our bars, that the balance would be completely thrown off, and we'd rapidly see a lot of vibration kick back into the robot. Like, I don't think we could fight that way. And that's part of why we have moved entirely away from tool steel, except in like this one secret way that maybe I'll tell you about later fight. But we're using AR 500 precisely because when uppercut hit the bottom of our weapon bar and it deformed entirely across the 42 inches, it did not break. And if we hadn't been thrown out of the arena, it was still spinning, which, you know, that was a disappointing way to go, but everything about the material science added up. It was just a bad hit for us.
Well, that's good because I was very curious about that. I meant to ask Ray and we just got so sidetracked, but then you brought that up and I was like, oh, well, she has a similar bot. Let's ask her. So you learn something new every day. Thank you for that. And Bunny, we're cheering for you. Like, you had kick-ass season last year. I know that they're giving you the opponents they are because you went out there and you proved yourself, just like you guys. That's the goal. You want tougher opponents, better fights. So I'm sure you guys are due for one in the win column and then hopefully a bid in the spot of 32. But you guys are there because you love it and because your friends and extended family are there as well. So ladies, it has been an absolute pleasure to finally have not one, but two female guests in the red square and the blue square. It took us a little longer to do this season, but not for lack of effort. Trust me, there's a few people that I had hit up throughout the season and it's just one thing or another. Either they're swearing off social media for a while and need just like this cleanse, or there's a wedding, or there's a Valentine's dinner this way, you know, whatever the case may be. We work with what we've got and you guys are fun to talk to no matter who you are. So thank you again so much. And I wish you guys the best of luck this season.
Thank you.
All right, folks. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel and then give us a like on the old Facebook. You can follow F.A.N Show Robotics Division on Twitter. It's always a good follow. Make sure that you're liking HiJinx as well as Malice and following them on all their respective social media platforms also. And new episodes of BattleBots every Thursday night at 8/7 Central. So for Jen Herchenroeder and Bunny Sauriol, I'm Richard Tiemann. This has been Red Square, Blue Square. We'll see you next time.